It's kind of like what's happening in the political arena today, with two sides just so determined that their side of this thing is correct, that there's not even any possibility of compromise.
Well, they've stopped thinking. And they cannot be feeling. But it's not all lost, because the electorate is feeling a desire for a functioning government.
Right.
And you're in charge. But if you watch what they're doing and you let them lead you, then you don't find your power and it doesn't happen. In other words, one day we were talking with a woman on the telephone years ago when Esther was still doing consultations. And she wasn't having any of this. She was annoyed with us. And so we realized that we were not making any headway with her, and we said, let's play a game. We would like you to find 3 subjects, and let's just focus on them together. She said, why? And we said, because we want to distract you from the resistant thoughts that you've got going on. Why? Because in the absence of resistance, many things you want will begin flowing to you. Well, like what? We said, like blue glass. Have you ever contemplated how many beautiful different textures and colors of blue glass there are? No, I haven't really, and I'm not really interested in that. Have you ever thought about butterflies, the variety of them, the longevity of them, the persistence of them, the beauty of them? I don't really care about butterflies either. Have you ever thought about feathers? Feathers are everywhere. They are all around, all different kinds of feathers, benefiting all kinds of creatures. She hung up, annoyed with us. And Jerry and Esther were in California. They were in La Jolla. And so they went down to George's to have lunch. Jerry had not heard the conversation. Esther was not really remembering it. They went down, they were walking down the main street in La Jolla, past the La Valencia Hotel. And Esther had such an urge to go inside this shop that she dragged Jerry in, kicking and screaming. He did not want to go, but Esther was strong about it. And he followed her in, and on the back wall was the most amazing display of blue glass that either of them ever see. Now, they didn't want blue glass. They didn't care about blue glass, but nevertheless, there was blue glass. So they left. They didn't buy anything. They went to George's and had lunch. And then they walked down to the cove, which in their opinion is the most beautiful place where the land meets the sea. They love that place. So they're walking across this grassy area on their way to the rocks. And a flurry of butterflies, so intense, they had to stop talking in order not to eat them, surrounded them.
Really?
And Esther still did not make any association. And then a little Asian boy who looked like he was about 3 or 4 years old came running from across the grass, looking at Esther, holding something in his hand. And when he got to her, he handed her a feather. And in that moment, it all came back to Esther. And she realized that in less than 2 hours, the universe had orchestrated a very clear, very clever path of least resistance to satisfy all 3 subjects that had been offered in no resistance. So it is our encouragement that you choose some things that you don't have a big wad of resistance, not a cause, not a mission, not a life's purpose, not something that you're all wadded up about. Just pick something easy and just ponder it lightly in the morning when you wake up. And watch how clever the universe is at helping you rendezvous with it. And if you do this enough, you will come to know that there is no influence that you cannot provide, that there is nothing outside your range. Because when you tune to your true desire, meaning Source is with you in that desire, in the absence of resistance, all things are possible. And all manner of things take place. People are standing around. They can't believe, what are these politicians doing? They're actually talking to each other. We've not seen them talking to each other. They're actually beginning to seem reasonable. They're actually beginning to work together. Wouldn't it be nice if a body of brilliant people, like those brilliant people, with degrees and purpose, wouldn't it be a lovely thing if they could come together and listen with reason and tune into the source within them and not care whose idea it is, but just revel in the perfection of the idea. This is a world that is possible for you. And it only takes a handful of you to focus in that way, you see. But as long as you're beating the drum of what's wrong with the politicians, you add momentum to that. And you defeat your own purpose. And you distract yourself from the true trajectory that is you. And you feel bad in the process, and you blame them for how you feel. You're powerful creators, you see. You're not facers of reality. You're creators of reality.
So even in the things that just seem most outrageous and most evil and most...
the more outrageous they are, the stronger the desire. And the more source is on it.
Yeah. So you just stay with seeing it from as a... just launching,
can't get there
as you
instantly.
say.
We understand. You can't get there instantly. But you got to care enough about how you feel that you start practicing yourself into the vicinity until your sense of worthiness really descends consistently upon you, and you're willing to then take on the big subjects, the big solutions.
And anger doesn't motivate you to that, and frustration and...
Motivation is a whole different thing than inspiration.
I know.
Motivation is just unpleasant. Inspiration always feels good. It's a first step. We don't deny that. Just don't stay so long in that first step. Makes you tired and grouchy and cynical, and then you become a politician. We have enjoyed this interaction more than words can ever explain.
As have I.
It is delicious. It is delicious to take thought beyond. There's great love here for you.
Thank you.
And for you. We are complete.
Thank you. Beautiful, beautiful. Thank you.
Love you.
I love you too. God bless you.
Thank you, Reed. Thank you, Hay House.